Mabuhay! Ako po, si Iro Desamparado, isang OFW teacher dito sa Cambodia.
Stay safe, Philippines, from Los Angeles! Jeddah National Hospital frontliners!
I think I could be the man of steel, but too shy to wear on these.
Mabuhay ang mga Filipino nurses!
From the nurses of City-Sinai, Los Angeles.
Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
At mag-ingat po tayo.
I wonder which I'd be.
Lieutenant Colonel Rene from the Armed Forces of the Philippines. I was deployed here in Minusca, Central African Republic, and further deployed as a team leader of Team Site 106 here in Bilbiran.
Mabuhay! Cambodia to Philippines!
I wonder which I'd be. If there were bags of magic dust for sale, I would be the first to order it by mail. I'd cross the sea myself by sail. I'd lay my hands for a broken rail. I know there is more to just being me. I know deep inside there is more to me. 'Cause I'm more than a superhero. More than a superhero. I know I am more than the skin or hair. More than the biceps, more than the power step. I can strongly feel my purpose in my life. I am super, not just a hero in me. I don't care if other people say that I'm just obsessed with make-believe. I just want to make a difference while I got the strength to live. It's just not enough to sit down and let things be.
Si Dennis, kasalukuyan natin ito sa Norway.
I'm more than just the typical hero from the realm of the mystical and supernatural. I know there is more to just being me. I know deep inside there is more to me. 'Cause I'm more than a superhero. More than a superhero. I know I am more than the skin or hair. More than the biceps, more than the power step. I can strongly feel my purpose in my life.
Amazing number of Filipinos and unsung heroes helping everybody and just outstanding care.
We are reliant on their care.
Love you!
To all frontliners, we sincerely salute you for your courage and bravery amidst this pandemic.
May God shower you a good health and blessings.
We love you. We miss you. See you soon.
I am super, not just a hero in me.
Love you! We miss you! See you soon! Live na po tayo.
Countdown pag 10 ha. 10, 9, 8.
4, 3, 2, 1. Sir, ready na.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today marks the 122nd commemoration of the Philippine Independence Day. The theme for this year is Kalayaan 2020, toward a free, united, and safe nation. The Department of Foreign Affairs is honored to have today two distinguished gentlemen with us this morning, the moving force behind today's Independence Day online celebration. We have with us the chair of the National Historical Commission, Dr. Rene Escalante, and PCOO Secretary, Assistant Secretary, Ramon Cualoping, And they're here with us today to share their experiences and insights on how we celebrate Philippine Independence Day in the new normal. How Apolinario Mabini ushered in the birth of the Filipino nation, and how his principles have influenced the diplomats of today. Times have really changed. For 121 years, we gathered around Luneta. We raised the flag in Kawit amidst large crowds, but now we celebrate them online. It was disorienting to see only about 10 people marching in Luneta this morning, and some groups remotely celebrating it. Nevertheless, thousands of people around the world who watched the live streaming this morning were one with them in spirit. This is the power of technology, and we bring this to the homes, to your homes in celebration. Good morning, Chair Rene.
Good morning, Yusek Ernie. How are you?
Salamat po at pinaunlakan nyo kami to be part of this celebration for today. And meron po kaming gustong marinig mula sa inyo, Mr. Chair, yung pong patungkol sa Philippine Independence Day. Napakaganda po ng tema natin nung Kalayaan 2020, Free, United, and Safe. Would you like to expound on that, and you can go on to the next?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Yusek Ernie, and good morning to all our viewers. Yeah, it's been the practice of NHCP that every time we have these commemorative events, we try our best to make it relevant by considering also not only the events that happened that year that we are commemorating, but also our current problems and challenges. So in the case of our commemoration of the 22nd anniversary of our Independence Day, I think we cannot close our eyes to the COVID-19 pandemic that until now still a big headache for all of us. So this is the context of our commemoration today. So if you can see in the theme, we did not drop the word Malaya, still there, but there are two words that we want to incorporate in our commemoration. The word Nagbabayanihan and the word Ligtas. So these three words in our theme should be remembered and should be appropriated during this occasion. So the reason why we adopted Nagbabayanihan, because I think it would be very difficult for us to defeat this coronavirus if the Filipino people and other countries will not be united against it. Like what our Katipuneros and revolutionaries did in 1898, they were united, and that's the reason why they were successful in their campaign against the Spaniards. And the last word, Ligtas, this is the goal that we want our whole country to focus. If during the 1898 revolution, the goal is freedom from Spain, the goal of our country now is freedom from COVID-19. Kaya po, we inserted the word Ligtas. So yun po yung context, Yusek, ng ating tema sa taong ito.
Napakaganda po at actually akma sa pananaw din ng presidente, di ba? Paano po yung mga Mr. Chair, yung ano pong iniba nito ngayon sa kasi sabi nga ninyo, dati-dati talagang may drama talaga dati-dati yung mga presentations natin ng NHCP. Ano pong iniba noon sa ngayon?
Okay. Since I became chair, that was 4 years ago, this is really, in fact, we are commemorating 5 important events as mandated by AU 33. One is the Araw ng Kagitingan, the other one is National Heroes Day, and November 30 and December 30, Bonifacio and Rizal Day respectively. But of these 5 commemorations that we regularly hold every year, the Independence Day celebration is really the biggest event, and even in terms of appropriation, we allot significant amount for this event because we consider this as the birthday of our nation. This is the day that, this is the culminating activity of all our struggles for freedom for the past 300 years. Now, because of this priority, we don't simply limit ourselves to the traditional wreath laying and a few other related commemorative events to that. In the past, we offer social services. For instance, we offer medical and dental mission in cooperation with the Department of Health and other medical associations. Now, we also partner with the Department of Trade and Industry for what we call the Descuento Caravan, wherein we offer basic goods at a very discounted price. Now, we also request the DOTR to offer discounts, and sometimes they offer free ride to our light rail system. And what the people is really waiting is the cultural night. So sometimes we have cultural shows, sometimes we sponsor concerts, and a few other entertainment activities along the Quirino Grandstand. Dinudumog po ito ng tao. And we end this cultural presentation with firework display. So in the past, we start our activity, USEC, from sunrise. So my people will be by 5 o'clock. They're already there preparing for the commemoration. And then we end up late night because sometimes there's still street dancing. So in the past, USEC, I'm sorry to tell you, very festive po talaga. At namimiss po namin ito. Ito yung piyesta ng NHCP. Arang ito rin naman namin. But now,
big day ninyo, di ba?
Because of our situation, we have no choice but to really downscale it to the barest minimum. So I hope that next year will be a different story. Yeah, Yusek.
So, pero yung you were able to make up for all of that, no? Ano po yung ginawa ninyo na naging nabawi yung lack of festivities? Paano po nyo binabawi?
Well, I think the participation of the PCOO people is very critical in this commemoration, because honestly, we in the NHCP, aside from our Facebook account, we don't have that much network and that's technical facilities to deliver our activities on households via different platforms. So good that the NHCP has a very good relationship with the PCOO. We created a technical working committee and other stakeholders. So we decided to come up with a 2-level presentation. So I took care of the events on the ground, and Asec, Cualoping, and the PCOO family took care of covering it on air and on other platforms. So it turned out that it was a perfect combination.
Sabi po nyo kanina, may babasahin po kayo. Tsaka yung you were going to explain somehow kung paano nag-evolve.
Oh yeah. Siguro since we still have time, I think it would be proper and more educational to give our listeners a short background as to how we commemorated our National Day in the past. Okay. For those of us who are already on our 70s and 80s, probably you are still aware that we used to commemorate our National Day simultaneously with the Americans on the 4th of July. So if the Americans are celebrating the July 4, 1776 event, wherein they declared independence from the British rule, now in our case naman, this is also the day, July 4 also, 1946, when our independence was finally recognized by the United States. So under the Tidings-McDuffie Act of 1934, we were given the promise that we will be given independence after a 10-year Commonwealth period. It was delayed for a couple of years because of the outbreak of the war, but nonetheless, the promise was fulfilled in 1946. So from 1946 onward, the National Day of our country was July 4th, on the 4th of July. Now, during the time of President Diosdado Macapagal, he made a drastic move by changing our National Day from July 4 to June 12. Now, many people are not aware of this. Sorry. But if you will allow me, I would like to quote the speech delivered by President Macapagal on on June 12, 1962 in Luneta. It will not be long. I just selected a few important lines of his speech. And let me start. And I'm quoting now President Macapagal. I move the observance of the anniversary of our independence to this day, referring to June 12, because a nation is born into freedom on the day when such a people announces to the world that it asserts its natural right to liberty and is ready to defend with its blood, life, and honor. Freedom is the inherent right of every nation. The natural right to liberty does not derive from a grant or recognition by another country, but is the God-given and natural attribute of every people. Other nations may accord recognition to the independence of a nation in the interest of peace and justice, but it is not such recognition which creates the right to freedom. The right is an integral quality of the nation itself. For this reason, it is proper that we should celebrate it not the day when other nations gave recognition to our independence, but the day when we declared our desire to exercise an inherent and inalienable right to freedom and independence. That's the end of quote. So to summarize, Yusek, in a nutshell, the shift is the point of President Capagal then, 1962, is the July 4, it is anchored on the recognition of the United States of our freedom, while the June 12 for it is our own assertion of our freedom. So from then on, the commemoration of our independence shifted from July 4, which later called the Phil-American Friendship Day, and then our National Day was moved to June 12. Now, when we move it to June 12, we focused on three important events that happened during this day. And let me now proceed to this.
Sige po.
First is we emphasize the Declaration of Independence that Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista read in the balcony of the mansion of Emilio Aguinaldo. This is the Acta de la Proclamación. So if the Americans, they have their Act of Declaration, we also have our own Act of Declaration. And it was composed and delivered not on July 4, but on June 12 of 1898. So in this particular regard, we give credit and honor to Emilio Aguinaldo, who conceptualized this, and to Ambrosio Rianzares Bautista, who composed and delivered it on this event. Second, Yusek, is we will remember on this day our national flag. This is the flag that was made by Marcela Agoncillo and her daughter Lorenza, and the niece of Rizal, Delfina Herbosa. They were commissioned by Aguinaldo then to make this flag. And this flag was waved and raised on June 12, 1898 in the balcony of the Aguinaldo mansion. And let us not forget also, Yusek, our national anthem. So we have to remember also that it was also during this event when the San Francisco Malabon Band played the Marcha Nacional. And later on, this will be given lyrics by Jose Palma, and this will now end up our national anthem. So the original one, the lyrics of this was originally in Spanish, titled Filipinas. Later on, it became Land of the Morning during the American period. And then after the war, it was translated into Filipino, and it became, well, we have two titles for this. We preserved the first two words of this, the Bayang Magiliw, Tierra Dorada, and sometimes we also call this the Lupang Hinira. To sum up, Yusek, this is the background of our commemoration today, and I hope that this short exposition that I gave will remind our people of how we commemorated our Independence Day or National Day.
Actually, po, very significant yung shinare ninyo, no? Kasi parang pinapakita sa atin, pinapaalala sa atin that nationhood is actually also a process. And it's a recognition that we need to own it, we need to embrace it. And I think maybe it's not always remembered that it was Macapagal who actually got it back for us. No, but I think it's very, very significant because it's actually giving us back our identity. Napakahalaga po. And I think, I believe we should treasure that and we should embrace it and recognize that we actually have a very storied past. Yung ating bandera, there's an explanation for that. And then also, it was originally a march, Mr. Chair, di ba? It was a march. It was a march na naging ano. But anyway, very, very, very significant. So we'll have to be, thank you so much, Chair, Mr. Chair. And then ilipat naman po natin saglit ang ating atensyon dito kay Asec Cualoping na talagang who's been really, really working hard for this. So, Asec Mon, can you tell us about the preparation and how different this is? Is this concept sustainable? Asec Mon, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Yusek Ernie, mayong buntag, of course, to Chair Rene Escalante. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Chair of the National Historical Commission and the Vice Chair of the National Quincentennial Committee, Dr. Escalante. I think we put it through, Dr. Rene, against all odds. And the biggest honor of it all is COVID-19. And Mr. Undersecretary Yusek Ernie, the past 3 months, we know how challenging it has been for the country and for the entire world. And we've been talking about all quite the negative side of things. The number of deaths, the number of active cases of COVID, the number of overseas Filipinos losing jobs, or the number of overseas Filipinos coming home. And then in the domestic zone, we are closing. A lot of businesses have been closing. A lot of politics going on, etc., etc. But I think part of our role as communicators is always to give hope, especially to tell the story of hope, to tell the story that better days are coming. And what better way highlighting and showcasing the biggest symbol of our resilience, the biggest symbol of the strength of our nation, which is the Independence Day. So the past 3 weeks, with the TWG formed by Dr. Escalante, we've had a marathon of meetings, actually, mga hits and misses. Ernie, we tried a lot of combination, how to go around the guidelines, how to stick to the guidelines, and then how to maximize technology as well. So it was a short program, but maximizing the platforms of the Presidential Communications Office. We pre-taped some parts, Ernie, so because we are not allowed to have so much people on ground. Secondly, there were sound bites a while ago that were taken live from Luneta. It was taken from a camp of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, so we're able to use it. It was a matter of innovating what we've already been doing the past 4 years, the past 3 years. Yusek Ernie, we started in the PCOO together 4 years ago, and we were there in the ASEAN, etc., and then we were able to do it. So now we've had a live point in Luneta and 7 other whip around broadcasts across the Philippines, and we were able to air the broadcast, Yusek Ernie, in almost 50 Facebook pages of the government, and through your team, Yusek Ernie, through Miss Paula Ebora, we're going to air also in our missions overseas, in our embassies overseas. This is quite important, Yusek Ernie, because the event was closed from the public this morning. So like what Chair Rene mentioned a while ago, previously there were a lot of on-ground events, there were a lot of festivities on ground. celebrations, kumbaga. This year, it's more of a commemoration of the strength and the spirit of the Filipinos. So important yung broadcast, important yung role ng technology at this point. Now, Yusek Ernie, I think moving forward, baka I'll say it candidly, feeling ko matutuwa nga siguro ang Department of Budget and Management, Yusek Ernie, because we've maximized technology, we're spending less. Yusek Ernie, we're spending less. And I think sustainability-wise, this is efficient. But of course, as we lead forward, post-pandemic, hopefully it happens soon, we go back to the lives that we were used to, but at the same time, mixing it up, blending it with the learnings from now, especially in the area of communications, Yusek Ernie.
Tama. You know, I think among other things, one of the reasons why there's something to be celebrated about this new normal, quote unquote, is hindi lang dahil sa mas mura, no? Pero actually, we're focusing on content. Kasi hindi mo naman pwedeng puro motherhood statements na lang. Kasi we really have to provide content. And I believe that people are, I believe we're really shifting, no? Yung ating, our attitude, our mindset as a people is really shifting. It's amazing. Asec Mon, how do you gauge the acceptance of and participation of the viewing public? Paano nyo nasusukat yan? Meron ba? I mean,
yeah, yes, Yusek Ernie. Well, we can go through the science of social media, which we have the metrics, the number of views, the longevity of each viewer in watching our broadcast. So we can count every 10 seconds how many people are watching our broadcast now. And thankfully, I think that a lot of people are watching us today. And thank you. Happy Independence Day to everyone watching. Second, Yusek Ernie, of course, we have listening tools. But rest assured, no invasion of privacy. But we have listening tools of what is being said publicly in their public posts on Twitter, on Facebook. So we get to gauge what they say. And for the past 3 months, it has been positive, Mr. Undersecretary, that there was I'll share the study to both of you, sirs. But in a nutshell, it was said that the Filipinos appreciate the effort of the government at this point in time for taking the initiative to speak directly to the people. Through the DFA, you have your I think weekly or twice a week with Yusek Sara Ariola. I watch that.
Weekly kami.
Weekly, yes, with our missions, with Chair Rene, the webinars with the historians, with the subject matter experts from the PCOO, with a lot of, Yusek Ernie, I think we have 6 to 7 virtual pressers in a day, Yusek Ernie, from across departments. So there's the political climate is quite rabid, yet the government continues to speak and engage directly to the people. And I think this is the innovation we've done, Yusek Ernie, compared to the past, wherein we wait for another platform, another group to convey our message. But now we go direct, and you are right, Mr. Undersecretary. It is very vital for us to be good content creators because everything's instant, everything can be viewed right away, everything can be listened to, everything can be watched right away. So people are discerning. So if they don't want our content, and if they see that what we are saying is not truthful, it's not legitimate or not valid, then they can just opt to leave the broadcast, watch another thing, and bash us. And bash us for fake news. So,
but it seems, anyway, I think we're getting a little bit
off. We're getting away from the topic, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, but going back, so you think this kind is sustainable?
Yes,
this
yes,
kind of communication is sustainable?
Yes, I think it's either us communicators, whether we go with the flow, we evolve and keep up with the times, or or not. I think we have to evolve. We have to grow grow positively with what's happening. We cannot go back to how we used to do it a year ago. Maybe Yusek Ernie.
No, ang laki ng pinagbago.
Yes, ang laki na ho ng pinagbago. And
hindi ba we were sitting with Chair Rene several months ago. Ayun, totally out of the window yung mga napag-usapan namin. But it also presents new opportunities. Grabe, hindi ba, Sir Rene? Kahit na sabihin mo, kahit na nawala yun, pero ngayon we have actually new opportunities and with brilliant guys supporting you. We'll be coming back to you, Mon, and for some last words later, we'll be going back to Mr. Chair. Kasi pag-uusapan naman namin yung interest ng DFA. Yung karugtong sa Independence Day celebrations ay ang pag-aalala and the remembrance and the celebration and the commemoration of the first not just Prime Minister but also the first Foreign Minister of the revolutionary government. Mr. Chair, would you like to enlighten us on DFA's agenda?
Yeah, thank you very much again, Yusek. Well, before we proceed to Apolinario Mabini, I think I need to emphasize that every commemoration, we always take this an opportunity to pay tribute and honor to certain individuals whom we think they played an important role in our nation's history. Yeah, before we leave the Independence Day 2020, I would like to go back again to what happened earlier, that aside from the traditional replaying of the guest of honor representing the president, we also paid tribute to frontliners in our battle against COVID-19 because we consider them as our current heroes. So if Bonifacio, Rizal, and Aguinaldo were the heroes of the 1896 revolution, well, the heroes of the 2020 would be our frontliners. Now, going back now to the topic of the DFA, yeah, a while ago I mentioned two names, Emilio Aguinaldo and Ambrosio Renzares Bautista, but we should not also forget Apolinario Mabini because he was also part of the inner circle of Aguinaldo, who made possible and who helped our first president run our country from 1898 until he was replaced as the head of the cabinet. Now, Mabini he's a popular hero. We have a lot of streets dedicated to him. He used to be a prominent fixture in our currency. But at this point, let us try to go back to his personal background first and later on. Let us discuss what was the important role that he played in our country. Well, if we start with his birth, I'm not sure if you are aware that there was a controversy as to his birthday. So siguro naalala niyo pa yung quincentennial natin, yung venue ng first mass. It's been a while na si Mabini pinag-usapan rin yung kanyang birthday. And let me just share some thoughts on this. In the past, we've been led to believe that he was born on July 23, 1864. And our basis for this is he himself. Paniwalang-paniwala po siya na siya po ay pinanganak noong July 23, 1864. So for several decades, ganun po ang tradisyon. When we were about to commemorate the centennial of his birthday in 1860 and in 1962, there was one article in the Sunday Times magazine. Came out on November 30, 1963, so months before the commemoration. A scholar discovered his original baptismal certificate in the archives of UST. Now, let me read my notes. According to the original text, Father Benito Baras, the parish priest of Tanawan, where he was born, he was baptized on July 23, 1864. So malamang yun ang tumanim sa isipan ng marami July 23. They forgot that there was a note in the baptismal certificate that says that he was a 1-day-old child when he was baptized.
Okay.
So which means, yung baptism niya ay 23, kaya lang mayroong note doon na siya ay isang araw na sanggol na. Kaya, kailangan nating mag-adjust ng kanyang date of birth. Kaya po naging July 22 na po ang kanyang birthday. So, kan lang po ito. Added trivia on Apolinario Mabini. Now, talking about his school days. Well, when I was still a history professor in the universities where I taught, it's always mandatory for me to ask myself, what lesson can we learn from our heroes? Let me apply that question now to Mabini. Ano po ba ang mapupulot nating aral sa kanyang buhay? Let us focus on his school days in UST, University of Santo Tomas. You know, during those times, UST is a university dedicated for the Spaniards and for the descendants of the Spanish mestizos. They are not really very much hospitable to the Indios, what they call the Indios. So, in some cases, they experience discrimination. We have seen this in the novels of Rizal and in the biography of Rizal himself when he was he had some bad experiences in UST. So, despite all of this context, Mabini and a few other heroes of the Philippine Revolution had the courage to compete with the Spanish students, even if they feel that the field is not level. May mga paborito, meron naman pag hindi ka kakulay, hindi ka ganun katangos ang ilong, hindi kanila ituturing na pantay. Now, like in the case of Rizal and also of Mabini, all of this, I would say, challenges, it did not affect the determination to finish a degree in that premier university during those times. So I would like to share to you that, like Rizal, Mabini's academic performance in UST was really exemplary. He finished his bachelor's degree, Bachiller de Artes, with a grade of sobresaliente, and even his licenciado in jurisprudencia, he got also the grade of sobresaliente. So sa madaling sabi, despite the fact that the playing field is not level, yet they struggled and still got the highest grade. So this should serve as an inspiration to a lot of our students. Ayun kasi yung mga estudyante natin, mapagalitan lang ng guro. Nagtatampo na, hindi napapasok, magkakatroma na, susumbong na yung magulang, pupunta na sa principal. So, in the case of Mabini and also in the case of Rizal, all of these hardships never affected their determination to finish their schooling in UST with flying colors.
So may tanong po ako, Mr. Chair. Ano po yung naidulot ni Apolinario Mabini sa paghubog ng pananaw ng bayan? You know, what did he bring to the table in terms of forming the Filipino nation?
When he became a member of the Aguinaldo cabinet, like any administration, there are also some polarization within the cabinet. And Aguinaldo has some, I would say, liberal and foreign-oriented members of his cabinet. And he has also some, I would say, ultra-nationalist members of the cabinet. And if you will allow me to put Mabini in the political spectrum, the Aguinaldo cabinet, he would belong to the nationalist tradition or nationalist bloc. So at the time, when the Americans were already knocking at our doors, Aguinaldo was turned between the pro-Americanistas, later on they will form the Partido Federal, and the other group, the group of Mabini, or the irreconcilables, who really want the Americans to get out of the picture and let our country be run by Filipinos. So in terms of I would say, nationalism, I think Mabini gave us a very good example of a very uncompromising stand when it comes to sovereignty. He doesn't want to waste the time and effort, and including lives, that our forefathers offered in a struggle for freedom. So that's why after June 12, 1898, he really wants our country to remain free. He doesn't want to compromise until the time that he was captured, prisoned for a while, and then later on exiled in Guam. So hindi po talaga siya nakipag-compromise.
So in other words, he, in today's parlance, you would have a globalist and nationalist, parang gano'n.
Something
parang
like that.
So, ang tanong ko po siguro is, sa palagay nyo lang, this is just by way of, what would be his attitude, for example, in dealing with the current situations that are facing us, maybe just to keep it, maybe the pandemics, how would he approach this, and or the geopolitics at this stage?
Well, when it comes to pandemic, we have to remember that before the outbreak of the revolution in 1996, he got sick of polio, and it really affected his mobility. Now, but despite this problem of his legs, it did not prevent him from participating in La Filipina, in the Philippine Masonry. And later on, he was a very active member in the Malolos Congress and the Aguinaldo Cabinet. Now, connecting it with our present situation, ito siguro yung lesson na makukuha kay Mabini, na ang mga medical challenges na kinakaharap natin ngayon, hindi dapat ito magdulot ng takot at hindi dapat ito magparalisa sa ating sarili at sa ating bansa. Dito binigyan tayo ng a perfect example of Mabini. You know, Yusek, there were some sectors when we were planning for the June 12, advising me to cancel the June 12 commemoration. Sabi ko, no. Kung sina Aguinaldo nga at sina Ambrosio Lanzares ay bala ang kanilang kinakatakutan at that time, because remember, in June 12, 1898, the Spaniards, they still have a sizable amount of army stationed in Intramuros, and the Americans, the U.S. Asiatic Squadron was still stationed in the Manila Bay. But despite these threats coming from these two superpowers at that time, hindi po natakot itong ating mga bayani na iwagayway at ideklara ang ating kalayaan. So, para sa akin po, Yusek, we have to factor in COVID. But hindi to magresulta. Hindi dapat natin ito ituring na dahilan para po tayo ay tumupi at manatili lang sa bahay. So, sabi ko, no. We will try to be creative without compromising the health of our participants by following the health standards by DOH and the IATF, and we will have a meaningful, simplified commemoration of our Independence Day. So, pwede pa nating kunin ang inspirasyon dito kay Mabini. Ang
pati malalim ang niya, it's understand, kung titinan po talaga natin yung mga nangyayari during that time, yung dinadaanan nilang challenges na kahit na murang bayan pa lang tayo, talagang hindi pa talaga tayo na iluluwal. Ang dami ng hinaharap, Pero apparently he provided a strong moral, he was like para siyang moral North Star na siya yung si Aguinaldo was an action man, but he provided the cerebral and moral structure behind. And he really had a genuine love for the country. At nababagay lang. Pero may tanong lang po ako, no? Hindi ba supposed to be si Cayetano Arellano yung foreign minister, kaya lang hindi yata niya ginampanan, ano?
Lumabas na rin po doon sa gabinete nila na if we really want to be independent, we need the recognition of other countries.
Opo.
So in other words, yeah, Agoncillo was then working on us, lalong-lalo na when after the Battle of Manila, wherein the Spaniards finally gave up Intramuros, and they were now negotiating the terms of surrender and how to end their rule in our country. The inner circle of Aguinaldo, they felt that they need to come up with a delegation or a group of people who will talk to our foreign counterparts and start to convince them that we are now ready to run our own country. Because declaring one's independence is one thing, having it recognized by other countries is a totally different story. So nasilip na po ito ni Mabini at pati na rin ng ilang mga kilang gabinete ni Aguinaldo noon. So kaya po yung international relations natin ay unti-unti na po nila ito binubuhay, particularly when Spain and US was negotiating for the Treaty of Paris that would be concluded by December 8, 1898. At dito po magsisimula yung sina kung saan po kayo ngayon talaga.
Well, ang sarap pong pag-usapan pala ang ating mga ugat no? Because eventually it gives us perspective about which way we can bring and should bring the nation. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Chair, meron ba kayong parting words para sa ating mga mga nanunood? Apparently, Asec Mon, are they from all over the world? Nakikita mo ba?
Yes, sir. And we're aired actually on a lot of other Facebook pages also of the government. So not only on DFA's page, not only on PCOO, but we're also on DILG. I think the DepEd, ang dami nating Facebook pages.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, do you have any parting words for your very wide audience?
Okay. Thank you very much again, Yusek. And let me take this opportunity in behalf of the Technical Working Committee that prepared for this commemoration of the 122nd anniversary of our Independence Day. I would like to thank all those who helped the NHCP, particularly the PCOO, the Office of the President, and of course, the other attached agencies. Without their support, I think we cannot come up with this magnificent commemoration. Now, here, Asec Mon is telling us that we want to prepare for a new normal because of this COVID-19 thing. But I wish that we can defeat this battle, this COVID-19, sooner and not later. Because I'm really praying to go back to what we used to have every June 12th. We will still continue with our partnership with the PCOO because with them, we can reach a lot of places, even if they are not in the sites where we have our national commemoration. Now, I would like also to invite our listeners to watch other platforms of NHCP today because we will be having some other shows and lectures that will further enrich their appreciation of this event. And finally, we always mention this to everyone, mag-ingat po tayo dahil hindi pa po natin nalalampasan ang problema ng COVID. Magandang araw po at maligayang araw ng kalayaan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We deeply appreciate this. Asec Mon, would you have some parting words?
Okay, sir. Quick. First of all, I think I enjoyed the lecture of Dr. Escalante. I think I have a good suggestion. I'm actually vibrating my team now, Carl Fajardo. I think we need to have a weekly show with Chair Rene and talk about the history of the Philippines. Yusek Ernie, I think this is a good idea.
In fact, we're also thinking about doing something along the same lines.
Yes, we can converge our ideas, Yusek Ernie, and maybe produce a weekly show.
We'd like to do a weekly cultural, by the way.
Yes, that would be nice, Yusek Ernie. So I think from PCO's end, Yusek Ernie, we believe that crisis always happen. It will there will be no time in the world where it will be perfect, that it will be a utopia. So from this point, that with the good partnership that we have with the National Historical Commission, with Chair Rene, and the National Quincentennial Committee, which we belong to, Yusek Ernie, I think it is very vital for the PCOO to highlight lessons from the history, the good stories from the history, the learnings from past, as we move forward as a nation. You mentioned it a while ago, Yusek Ernie. The nation building is a continuing story. It is a living history. It is a living instrument of our lives. So communication is very important, because once people misinterpret things, once people misunderstand things, then it may cause chaos, it may cause misunderstandings, it may cause quarrels or infightings, which are detrimental to nation building. So from PCO's end, Mr. Undersecretary, Mr. Chair, we give our commitment to use our platforms for the betterment of the narrative for our overseas Filipinos, for our Filipinos na kahit saang sulok sa Pilipinas, from north to south, man yan, Bisaya ba yan, Ilonggo, Kapampangan, we will be here to engage with everyone. And Mr. Undersecretary, before I end, maybe like Mr. Chair, we will also plug that the entire day on TV, through the efforts of Chair Escalante, ni-revive natin yung MTV style ng production. So we have Kalayaan playlist, Pinoy hit list. So ito yung mga songs about Kalayaan, about the Philippines, about the history of the Philippines, and about the National Quincentennial also. It will be aired, I think, 3-4 times this afternoon until tonight on PTV and on our social media accounts, PTV, PCOO, and even DFA, Mr. Yusek. So, and at 4 p.m. later, we will have a webinar regarding the Philippine independence as well, and it will be also aired on our social media platforms. So sa mga lahat ng nanonood sa tanang gatanaw sa ato karon, nagbisaya na, no, Yusek Ernie, huwag niyong kalimutan manood. Marami tayong matutunan, and sabi nga natin kanina, crisis will always happen, walang perfectong mundo, but we all lead forward. At the end of the day, as Filipinos, as we build the nation, as we grow with the nation, we have to be thought leaders. We have to help our own circles, our own communities, to help in nation building. So lahat yon tulungan. So happy Independence Day, mabuhay ang Pilipinas.
Thank you, Asec Mon. And once more, we just like to say thank you to Mr. Chair, Dr. Rene Escalante, and of the National Historical Commission, and Asec Mon Cualoping of the PCOO. Our best regards, of course, to your Secretary, the always affable Secretary Martin Danat. And but again, let me just like to end the way we began, by giving honor to our today's heroes, the frontliners. You've been admirable. You are the people of the year. You're the people, perhaps, of the century. But we just like to say thank you so much to our frontliners. And at this stage, of frontliners natin comprise not just those in the medical field, but all those who are in the streets delivering essential goods and making sure that somehow life still goes on. And again, we'd also like to say, and from the DFA, and this is up to recognize the roots of the nation, also the roots of the department, that we go back to the men with the founders with a vision, men who had a deep sense of patriotism, men who are not taken over by petty politics, but they had this deep love for the nation and to make sure that we strive for independent recognition and establishment of a true republic. We'd like to appreciate the theme for this year, Kalayaan 2020, toward a free, united, and safe nation. It reminds us, of course, of the President's vision of having an independent foreign policy, not captive to any one force, but no matter what a small nation we are, we use everything that is in our toolbox and to assert and to make sure that we forge our way, no matter how choppy the waters are, to make sure that the nation is not held captive or captured, but finding its way in this world to become an equal and a worthy member of the community of nations. Also, we'd like to remember that the President also desired from the very beginning a community, isang bayang nagbabayanihan, united, where everybody is included, where prosperity is inclusive, and people live peacefully and according to law and order. And of course, that we have a safe nation. Safe, our borders are safe outside and inside. And so, Mr. Chair and Mr. Asec, we do look forward to a great year this year. That we're looking, we're seeing beyond, and you have given us adequate hope. So we'd like to say thank you very much, and marami pong salamat sa nanonood, and happy Independence Day. And we thank God. Just reminds me, we should say thank you to former President Macapagal, who shifted us back, from a capital mentality to understanding that to bring us and to really appreciate who we are. So good morning and every blessing. Happy Independence Day. Happy 122nd Kalayaan. Magandang umaga po. Maraming salamat. Thank you, sir.
Kami ang mga nurses dito sa 8 South sa Cedar Sinai.
Mabuhay ang mga Filipino nurses! Dito nasusukat, tapang na walang katulad. Bayani rin pala tayong lahat.
Greetings from Berlin, Germany. We thank you, everyone.
Filipino, anumang lahi mo.
Sa tulong po na inyong mga dasal, kakayanin po namin lahat.
Anumang laban mo, sa timog o silangan, hilaga o kanluran, dito maaasahan ang aming inang.
Kaya natin to by God's grace.
In our own little way, we are able to help in this pandemic crisis.
Malalagpasan natin to.
Labanan ng COVID!
Stay safe, everyone!
Halina't ibahagi ating anyo't antas, ating ipamalas, handog ng Pilipinas.
Frankfurt, night shift.
Mundo ating mababakas.
Konnichiwa, isang pagbati po mula sa Bansang Malaya.
Ay may taglay na lakas. Dito nasusukat, tapang na walang katulad. Bayani rin pala tayong lahat.
Mabuhay ang Pilipinas at lahat ng nurses sa buong mundo.
Pilipino, anumang lahi mo, kasangga mong Pilipino, anumang laban mo, sa timog o silangan, hilaga o kanluran, dito maaasahan ang aming inang bayan.
From the frontliners of Central Hospital, Cambodia, let's flatten the curve!
Filipino nurses from Brunei Darussalam na naglilingkod po sa inyo.
Amazing number of Filipinos work in our NHS and unsung heroes.
We are reliant on their care.
These are the immigrants currently saving people's lives.
Yes.
Coming here and actually enriching our country.
Dito nasusukat, tapang na walang katulad. Bayani rin pala tayong lahat.
Ipagdasal niyo din kami na makasurvive tayong lahat.
Filipino, ano mang lahi mo, kasangga mong Filipino, ano mang laban mo, sa timog o silangan, hilaga o kanluran, dito maasahan.
Mag-ingat po tayo. May God bless us all.
Narito po kami sa Washington, D.C.
Mga kababayan, mag-ingat po kayo dyan.
Namimiss ko na po kayo. Do not worry too much about my life here in Hong Kong.
Keep safe always, modern heroes of this generation. Especially to Ate Len, Tito Don, and Tita Ems.
Hi, Daddy! Miss na miss ka na po namin. Okay lang po kami dito. Mag-iingat po kayo dyan.
Sobrang proud po kami sa'yo.
We love you!
May God shower you a good health and blessings.
I rarely see him because of his work.
Thank you for everything and be the instrument of hope and inspiration to all OFWs in Hong Kong.
Always take care. We love you. We miss you.
Kuya, ingat ka dyan lagi. Stay safe. Lagi ka namin pinagpre-pray. Alam naman namin na ginagawa mo lahat yan para sa pamilya mo. Napakabait mo. Napakasipag mo talaga. Sobra.
We love you. We miss you. See you soon.
Kasangga mo